Mama delivered me at the Wilfin Pet's breeding room along with my other brothers and sisters on May 5, 2018. My papa is an Australian King Charles Cavalier and my mama is a Taiwanese poodle. In essence, I should be bilingual and able to understand fluent Taiwanese, Chinese, and Australian English. Unfortunately, I was separated from my parents and siblings at a tender age after I sucked Mama's first stream of milk. I was sent to a concrete wall prison with a glass door. There were many visitors coming in every day to look at us like animals in the zoo. There were many of us, besides my siblings, being locked up in the concrete prisons. Each evening, they transferred us to cages to stay over the night. At times, my peers of differing breeds were taken by the visitors. At least they were freed from the concrete prison. I thought, when will I be freed? When I was 2.5 months old, a brother and sister who first laid sight on my sister decided to take me, as my sister was already booked by another visitor. It was another 4 days later before the pair of brother and sister came to pick me up. Freedom! I cried. That day I was not given any lunch like the rest but was showered and groomed. I was carried on the strong arms of the brother into a creature which they called car. The sister took the driver's seat and drove the car to a faraway place. I was scared. Everything seemed so new to me. When we reached the house which they called home, I was surprised that a crate along with the pea tray was already ready for my habitation in the living room. Oh my God! Another cage again. I did not dare to make any noise as this place was completely alien to me. For the first 2 weeks, I was observing everything in the house. They called me by a name, Grace. Why? I did not know until later when I grew up to understand their language and overheard their conversation with friends that I was born on May 5, 2018. The numeral 5 in the Bible means favor or grace. That is the origin of my name. Anyhow, when I was given food, I always walloped up all my food, not knowing that there were no competitors fighting for my food then. I peed and pooed in the crate which my masters would wash every day when I soiled the pea tray or crate. They tried to lay newspaper on the crate, but I always tore them into pieces when I was young. After 2 weeks in my master's home, they started to let me out of the crate each day to roam around the living room and kitchen for a while. If I peed or pooed wrongly on the floor of the living room or kitchen instead of the pea tray, I would be put back into the crate. I would whine again after a few hours requesting to be out of the crate. After another 2 weeks, my masters finally tore down the crate and let me roam freely except the study room and the bedroom. Thereafter, I would still pee and poo wrongly and they would guide me to the pea tray. This went on for a while and they gradually moved the pea tray until it reached the toilet. There was a certain day when my eyes were opened. I saw an image on the piano board. Little did I know that it was my reflection. I barked and barked at my reflection image. It took me a few days to overcome this. My masters bought a lot of toys for me. They would throw and ask me to fetch. Initially I was thrilled with the fetch games and tug of war, but later these fetch games became touch games. I grew bored of the fetch games and just ran and touched the toys. Sometimes, I have this sudden burst of energy where I would run around the house at top speed like a zooming sports car. I even grew tired of my daily kibble and freeze-dried food. My masters would sometimes give me yogurt. dog treats, hard-boiled eggs, steamed diced chicken breast meat, and cheese. My masters have to coax me to eat my dog food or even hand-feed me if needed. I prefer their human food from steamer and oven that are juicy and the aroma from diced chicken breast and baked chicken. I grew from 1.5 kilogram to 6.8 kilograms on my 6 months. After my third vaccination at the vet, my masters brought me out to the neighborhood park. These outings slowly increased in frequency from the neighborhood park to East Coast Beach, Changi Beach, Pungo Park, Sengkang Riverside Park, Badak Reservoir Park, and Pasir Ris Park. I was curious about everything. I started sniffing and licking any foreign objects in the park until I threw up a few times. Despite all that, I enjoyed all the outings. The smell of trees and plants just sharpened my sense and I felt satisfied. At my 5th month, my whole mouth was sore with my milk teeth dropping off and the permanent teeth pushing out. I chewed on toys, doors, and ripped off the wooden laminate on the cabinet to alleviate the pain and soreness. My master seemed to notice my pain and froze a towel to let me bite to ease the soreness. I liked to play tug-of-war during my teething. It massaged my gum and somehow helped the milk teeth to drop off faster. At the same time, my ears grew more sensitive to every noise. I would bark at the slightest noise, any strange objects which I feared, and any strangers coming near the house. My masters would reassure me that the sounds were from neighbors. They put me on top of a cabinet near the window to allow my head to look out from the window grill so as to ease my suspicion on the source of sound and to minimize my barking. I hated bathing and grooming. My masters would wet and shampoo me all over until my coat was so drenched and I felt so skinny and naked. There was an unforgettable incident which occurred to me after my bath which left me traumatized for a while. My master wrapped and carried me in the towel after bath and I struggled and leaped off from the towel in his arms. I fell hard on my chin with a thud. I was painful and was traumatized by the fall. After this incident, whenever I leaped up to the sofa, I did not dare to jump down. I would bark for my master to carry me down. In an effort to help me overcome this phobia, my masters used treats to entice me to jump from the sofa to a bed cushion. This worked and I overcame my phobia of height. At times, there are visitors to the house. I love visitors. I will pounce on them and lick them all over. Unfortunately, there are some visitors who feared me and screamed when I ran and clung to them. These visitors will usually resort to caging themselves in the study room or ask my master to put me on a leash to limit my distance to these scary cats. At 6 months of age, I started to fart. Not the loud fart like my masters, but the silent fart which stinks. My masters seemed to detect the smell, but I just turned and looked into the air as if I did not do it. I suspect that the fart was most likely due to my intake of my favorite diced chicken meat on previous day's dinner. As days passed, I found myself getting chicken-hearted and fearful. Every foreign noises make me react in fear. One of the familiar rope toy, with a noose at one end, which I played frequently, became a threat and made me scared. Apart from this, I am proud that I am an excellent guard. Any people nearing the house, I would alert my masters in a consecutive triplet barks. Most of the times, my masters would dismiss me saying neighbor, neighbor, or it's okay, or no, bark, bark. I can associate with the words it's okay and no bark bark, but I still got no clue to that word neighbor. Neighbor, even now, my masters still ask me to lift up my right foreleg and put on their hand when they say shake hand hand. I wonder what is that for, but my shaking of hand always brought my masters beaming with joy on their face and showered me with treats from their hands. Yummy! I love the rewards, the treats which my masters gave me when they teach me to sit down and up when I was younger. It brought me such sweet memories when I recollected my past. I hated my masters cleaning the floor with logs of cloths attached to a long stick. The cleaning of the house always cleaned off all my smell like pee, poo and my saliva. I would intentionally peed and pooed on the floor again that night. My masters would reprimand me again, thinking that I have forgotten all the potty trainings. They would wipe the soiled floor with the wet tissues, which still leave some minor smell stains on the floor. I felt secure and comforting to have the whole place reeking with my smell again. After a few days, came my most pathetic moment. I was brought to this clinical place called veterinary. Happily, I sniffed around the new place. Next came the horror of my life. I was put into sedation for a few hours. When I woke up from the long sleep, my head was still heavy, but I noticed something amiss. 3 of my milk teeth missing, and I was bandaged on my waist and wore a cone on my head. The cone was a nuisance. It limited my vision and movements. When I wanted to get near to an object, the edges of the cone just forbid me to get near to objects larger than my cone. I pleaded for my masters to remove the cone with my whining cry, but my masters seemed unmoved or hardened their heart not to remove it. After many attempts of shaking my head with pitiful whines, using my forelegs to try and dislodge the cone, I managed to soften my master's heart, and the cone was removed with my master's heavy surveillance through the entire night. That night, my masters took turn to watch over me, making sure that I don't lick or disturb the bandage. The next day, I threw up a few more times after I have taken my breakfast. In the morning, my master bought another inflatable neck pillow and secured it on my neck. Similar to the cone, this obstructed my vision and I hated it too, but this is a lot better than the cone. After many struggles to remove the inflatable neck pillow with no avail, I resigned to my fate, thinking that I would need to wear this pillow for the rest of my life. Aside from this, there were also major changes to the living room. The half sofas and most of my toys were shifted into the study room, the designated restricted area for me. It seemed that my masters want to limit my activities like leaping onto the sofa and playing. My masters even sat on the floor to watch their TV programs. All these happened to me after I visited the vet. I sobbed at my situation. Aren't this more tragic than any of the Korean drama which my masters watch? 2 days later, my bandage was removed and I realized that there were stitches near my waist. My masters put a binder for baby over my stitches again. When I got better, I jumped and scratched the door, pleading for my masters to let me into the bedroom. I tried to reach for the doorknob, but to no avail. Unknowing, the stitches on my waist started to open with a little flesh showing. I was sent to the vet clinic for restitching and put on sedation again. When I was back, I was weak and was put in a carrier cage. When I awoke from my sedation in the middle of the night, I whined and scratched and made a lot of pitiful noise, begging to be out. My masters, fearing that my noise would wake the whole neighborhood, let me out of the carrier and stayed the whole night with me. After the arduous 10 days, I visited the vet clinic again to remove my stitches. By the way, all the sofa and my toys at home were returned to me the day before I went to the vet clinic. It was back to normal routine of grooming and bathing again once I returned from the vet clinic. I would usually snuggle near my masters if they lie on the floor. This is the way I tell them I love them. My masters also pampered me with a lot of fruits. They tried blueberries, strawberries, pumpkin, banana on me. The blueberries and banana I like, but the strawberries were sour. I loathe. I love meat compared to veg. All the fruits does not appeal to me after a while. In an effort to get my master's attention, I will jump to grab hold of the hand towel and the kitchen towel. My masters will then chase after me for the towels which I stolen before their eyes. I enjoy the chasing and catching. It is really fun. There was once after dinner, they let me lick their remaining ice cream. I love the ice cream. It is simply addictive, delicious. I wish that I can have ice cream after every dinner, though I will have lactose intolerance and L's lousai, which is Hokkien for liquid poop or diarrhea the next day. In the park, I like to chase after roosters and birds during my walk. If not for the leash that is holding me back, I should have a few birds under my paws. As I get older, I became slightly rebellious. I guess that is why the humans say teenage rebellion, which correctly describes me. I still pee at the wrong place despite my masters coaxing me to pee at the pee tray in the toilet. My masters are at a loss in training me to pee at the right place. They reward me with a treat each time I peed correctly, but this turned out to be my every opportunities to get a treat by peeing just a little. I am smart, right? I pee by installments so that I get treat every time I pee, when in actual fact, I only need to pee 2 to 3 times a day. When I was in my 14th month, my master started me on obedience class. I was taught to sit, heel, down, stay, come. They put a training collar chain on me. I wore that training chain to learn the dog etiquette, or rather the dog walk instead of catwalk. I got to meet friends of various breed in my class. I have a friend named Yogurt, a Maltese, another named Angus, a Beagle, 2 Shetland named Nike and Kira, a golden retriever named Suki, a Maltipole named Truffy, Pomeranian named Momo, and a few more which I forgot their names. Anyway, they all landed in the same plight like me. I heard my ultimate final lesson is to walk unleashed. That really get me excited initially, but later found out that I must walk unleashed, always following my master's footsteps and commands. When there were less people in the park, my masters would allow me to roam freely. It is said that my life revolves around 4 things: eat, sleep, play, and pee-poo. As I am growing up, I got to taste the Bakwa barbecued sliced pork, durian king of the tropical fruits, and honey baked chicken, or sometimes black peppered chicken from Giant Supermarket. Many times I would walk near the trolley where the bakwa is placed to hint to my masters until finally the whole pack of bakwa was finished. As for drinks, I like milk and carbonated drinks. Sometimes my masters gave me a little isotonic drink or carbonated drink to quench my thirst. Recently, my masters add another 3 more squeaky rubber balls to my toys. They would bounce the balls on the floor and I would catch with my mouse. There are some misses, but most of the time I can catch them all accurately. My masters would then shower me sparingly with their praises and claps. I felt happy. I would like to repeat and play the same game over and over again, showing off my cleverness and accuracy. In the third week of October, my masters took me for home boarding. Neither do I have any idea of what it is like. They just packed my stuffs like my eating bowl, toys, plastic bags for my poop, my 3 days food, treats, water bottle, pea tray, yogurt, and many more. When I reached an apartment, my masters left all the stuffs with the lady owner named Lily. I started sniffing around the new place. When I turned 3 years old, I started scratching, profuse licking of my paws. In addition, my fur started to drop. Neck skin seemed to sag and air gave a bad odor. My masters brought me to the vet. He gave me a jab on my butt and sent me home with a pack of kibbles. Little did I know everything changed the next day. I was only given that kibbles for all my meals, no more treats, chicken, beef, etc. Over a few weeks, almost miraculously, my scratching, licking, ear infection ceased and my neck skin tightened. Despite of all these good, I still missed all the variety of food instead of this buffet kibbles. I'll end my memoir here, knowing that my lengthy memoir would have probably make you nodding in approval by now. I meant dozing off by now. The end.